some breaking news, we are very pleased to announce that today we'll be providing $30 million of an investment here to grow this precinct, but also to ensure that there will be more jobs here, hundreds of jobs in the future, if we can secure more contracts. So we're announcing $28 million to provide the money to build 2 new wharves. One will be 80 metres and one will be 100 metres. This is vital if we want to grow this precinct to capture the contracts for repair and maintenance of patrol boats right around the Pacific region. Now, Cairns is in the exact location we need this to happen, and you only have to look around, and there's maintenance that's being carried out on Australian Border Force patrol boats here, but there is more opportunities in the future if we invest now. It means that we'll be able to secure more contracts for Cairns and, of course, more work as we diversify the economy. This is something that the local members have been raising with myself and the Treasurer. It's something that has been raised with me by the community, but also I know Advance Cairns has also been calling for this as well. This investment could bring hundreds of extra jobs to this region. Now, not only that, we also want to make sure that Cairns community and young people have the opportunity to get employment here. So we want to link very closely with the Great Barrier Reef TAFE to ensure that the young people can get the skills and the training needed to work here. So it's not just about providing the investment now, it's about linking it with the skills and training that is needed for the future. We recognise that this global pandemic is having a big impact on communities worldwide. It's having a big impact on communities across Australia. It's having a big impact here, especially for our tourism sector in Cairns. As we diversify, we need to grow those jobs, we need to build those jobs, and this key investment here could create hundreds of jobs into the future. So I'll hand over to the Treasurer to say a few words, and we'll hear from Colin, the local members, and then we're happy to take a few questions. Treasurer, I'll swap with you.
Well, thanks very much, Premier. Really excited to be here today in Cairns with you and our parliamentary colleagues as we announce a terrific investment for the future of shipbuilding, repair, maintenance and overhaul, and the future of manufacturing in Queensland. Of course, Cairns was one of those places in Australia that was hardest hit when COVID first hit our shores. It was the place, however, where our government came to announce our first recovery package, almost $28 million to support the community and jobs in the community here when Lunar New Year celebrations were cancelled. $8 billion in recovery support later, we are back in Cairns with our economic recovery plan being rolled out specifically for this part of Queensland. So our first recovery package supported Cairns, our largest recovery package supported Cairns, and our specific recovery package, which we're announcing today, will continue to support Cairns and the far north community. Of course, one of the central elements of our economic recovery strategy in Queensland is manufacturing. And this community of Cairns and the far north has a very long and proud history of shipbuilding. We are backing manufacturers across the state. And so this investment, this $30 million investment, which will expand the capacity of this community to service vessels, not just from around Australia, but from around the world, will be a wonderful contribution to the economy here, and it'll create jobs, 150 jobs alone just in construction. And that's what we're committed to as a government. And as we're seeing from around the world, as we look around the world, we know that COVID is still damaging lives and damaging livelihoods. Almost 1 million people now have died around the world because of COVID-19. And when you look at economies like the United Kingdom, we know this. Unless you can control the environment, unless you can control the environment for COVID, unless you can keep the virus under control, you can't reopen the economy. And that's exactly what our Premier has done since January this year. We are safe because the Premier was strong on the borders. We can make this an announcement. We can create jobs. We can ensure this project goes ahead precisely because we have safeguarded the health of Queenslanders. And all of that will be put at risk by Deb Frecklington and the LNP. We know they were reckless on the borders. They demanded the borders be opened early, and that would have put the lives of Queenslanders and the jobs of Queenslanders at risk. and now they're going to be a risk again, because the only way you can fund $24 billion in election commitments is to cut. And this community knows. This community knows what happens when the LNP gets into government. More than 300 jobs slashed from the community, including healthcare jobs right here in the Cairns community. And that's a risk that Queensland simply can't afford. So we're continuing to roll this out. You know, every dollar matters now. Every single dollar that we spend must be focused on jobs. That's absolutely critical to our economic recovery. And we hear this morning that in November last year, from Sunday the 22nd of November to Tuesday the 24th of November, the LNP spent $6,500 of taxpayers' money down at schoolies. Now, I don't know what policy work they were doing over a 4-day long weekend at schoolies, but I don't think they were doing any policy work at all. So 13 LNP MPs thought it was right in November last year to spend $6,500 of taxpayers' money on a holiday at the Gold Coast during schoolies. The LNP is absolutely red hot when it comes to wasting public money. The LNP is absolutely shameless when it comes to wasting public money. So when Deb Frecklington stands up this morning, she needs to say two things. She needs to say, cut what, cut when, cut where, cut how, cut who, to fund $23 billion in unfunded election commitments. And she needs to demand these 13 LNP MPs pay back the $6,500 they spent on the taxpayer at schoolies last year.